The heat has stayed away, and it's a beautiful night for baseball here in the Gateway City. It's one of the best rivalries in all of sports. The world champion St. Louis Cardinals playing host to the Chicago Cubs. A look at the Central Division. We know the Reds are hot. They lead the division, and Cincinnati will host Milwaukee tonight. Meanwhile, Andrew McCutchen's an MVP candidate. They'll play host to Miami. And for the Cardinals, surprisingly, they'll see a very hot team. The Chicago Cubs have won 7 of their last 10. That's the Mad Hungarian Al Raboski. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to baseball. Cardinals really need to turn things around. Very tough road trip to start the second half.
It was very tough. They could have won all 6 of those ball games. They only won 1. At least they were in it to the end, so they can turn those things around. It won't be easy tonight because Dempster on the mound, he has a scoreless streak of 33 innings, and the Cubbies have the best record in the National League since June 25th.
Alfonso Soriano, big reason why they have played well. 18 home runs this season. Loesch goes for the Redbirds. We're back with more in a moment. Sports Midwest, and let's recap how this season series has unfolded. We'll start with the Cardinals home opener, a soggy and unsatisfying one. After nearly 2 hours of rain delays, Adam Wainwright's first home start since surgery was spoiled by a few home runs, including a grand slam from Brian LaHare. Cardinals scored 5 runs in the 5th, but the game had already been decided. Chicago went on to win 9-5. The next afternoon, the Cardinals received their World Series rings, then rebounded from their disappointing home opener with a 4-run fourth against Chris Volstad. Lance Lynn allowed just 1 earned run in 5 1/3 innings of work, and John Jay put the game on ice with a home run in the 7th. The Cardinals would win it by the score of 5-1. The rubber match of the first series is known as the Matt Carpenter Show. Carpenter collected 4 hits, including his first big league home run. And behind Jake Westbrook's 7 innings of 2-run ball, St. Louis won big. The final was 10-3. The Redbirds' first road trip to Wrigley saw a good pitching duel between Jaime Garcia and Matt Garza. Hits were at a premium through 8, but the big hit at the end of the game was the story of the game. Joe Mather, a former Cardinal, walked off on his former club, driving in 2 runs in the 9th off his former minor league teammate Jason Mott. It was a 3-2 win. Game 2 in Chicago was another close one. Wainwright and Samardzija were solid, and the teams were tied 2-2 in the 10th. A blown call on a stolen base attempt earned Mike Matheny his first ejection as Card skipper. Matheny could only watch from the clubhouse as Alfonso Soriano walked off the Cards for a second straight night. Cubs won it 3-2. Lance Lynn became baseball's first 4-game winner with 8 innings of 1-run baseball and 7 strikeouts in Game 3. The reigning World Series MVP, David Freese, hit his 6th home run of the season in the 6th inning. And the Cardinals avoided the sweep and took the series finale in Chicago 5-1. When the two teams met again back at Busch Stadium, the series tied at 3-3. Both Ryan Dempster and Jake Westbrook were shaky in the first of a short 2-game set. All-star Brian LaHare went deep again against the Cardinals, and in the end, Alfonso Soriano got the best of Mitchell Boggs, and the Cubs won that ball game 6-4. The last time these two teams met, Matt Carpenter's home run in the bottom of the 8th gave the Cardinals a 6-5 lead. It was answered by Alfonso Soriano's first home run of the season, tying it at 6-6 in the top of the 9th. Yadier Molina, though, he came through, and the Cardinals had the last laugh. A 2-out RBI single in the bottom of the 9th gave St. Louis a 7-6 win and tied this exciting season series at 4 games apiece. What will take place this weekend? We're about to find out. It's Cardinals baseball, the Cubs and Cardinals, coming up on your home of the Redbirds, Fox Sports Midwest. Midwest, where the Cardinals starting rotation has an ERA under 3 in the month of July. The only team in baseball that can say that. The Cubs right behind St. Louis, and then you'll see the Dodgers, and we'll see them here in St. Louis on Monday night. Making the start for Chicago is Ryan Dempster, the topic of many trade rumors. He has just been outstanding this season, hasn't given up a run since May 30th. On the other side, it's Kyle Loesch for St. Louis. Leads the team in innings pitched. His ERA is just over 2 since June 4th. Loesch and Dempster, Cards and Cubs, coming up on Fox Sports Midwest. The Cardinals and the Cubs. The scene is downtown St. Louis and Busch Stadium. First pitch next. Sports Midwest, the Cardinals and the Cubs. The first of 3 this weekend from Busch Stadium in St. Louis. The AT&T decal set given away, and a huge crowd this evening. Over 40,000 expected. De Jesus, the center fielder for Chicago, leads it off against Kyle Loesch.
And Loesch has had a tremendous season so far. And with this pitch, it'll be his team-leading 20th start of this 2012 campaign, and that's a strike.
I was trying to win for the 10th time, but in reality, probably should be going for either win number 12 or 13. He's pitched that effectively. Obviously, he's healthy, and I think he's really pitching towards that new contract.
Certainly, he's human. It's got to be in the back of his mind, and you think about next year and beyond. That's one of the decisions the Cardinals will have to make. Enterprise Bank and Trust starter for the Cardinals, Kyle Loesch. 0-2 here on David DeJesus, who was the first signing for the new regime of the Cubs.
Kyle Loesch will be 34 after the season in October. And I really have to think that you really wouldn't want him to have an opportunity to go to free agency, because someone might really overpay him or pay him what he's due.
Here's a ground ball to the right side. That's Schumacher. Seen a bulk of the playing time at second base. The Cubs as a team hitting .250. You just saw DeJesus. Now Castro, who led the league in hitting last year, he's down to .283 this season. Rizzo's made quite the impression. Alfonso Soriano's been on a tear. Laher's an all-star. Clevenger, Barney, Valbuena, and the pitcher, he's still in their lineup, so I guess he's a go. That's Ryan Dempster. We weren't sure, were we?
Well, Dallas Swain took over last season, and right now he's got these young team playing very well. The best record in the National League since June 25th.
Much of that has to do with their pitching, which has been right behind the Cardinals, as you heard moments ago, as far as team ERA, and in particular with their starters. But also, they're out of the race, playing very free and easy. And you would think that that would also add to what they're doing right now.
Well, young players come up here, and if you keep them in the right direction and allow them to have fun but continue to learn.
Here's a little chopper towards short for Kyle. Has to be quick. 2 away. Defense gave up 3 errors at the start by Wainwright on Wednesday and wound up costing them the game. Beltran gets the start in center. We've seen Schumacher. He's at second. Second consecutive start for Berkman at first. And the mainstay behind the plate, that's Yadier Molina. That's brought to you by Dobbs as we go around the horn for Mike Matheny's club, trying to turn things around after one of the toughest road trips in memory.
Very tough road trip. Cardinals just couldn't deliver clutch hits. They got good starting pitching. Really, the bullpen did a good enough job. Very easily could have been 6-0 on that trip that ended up 1-5. And how about the way every game went down to the very final out?
There's a strike to Anthony Rizzo, already with 4 home runs since he was called up, 10 RBIs. He'll turn 23 on the 8th of August. There's a fly ball into right field and a base hit. He has been the talk of the season, even in the minor leagues, as the fan base knew this is going to be a rebuilding season. Next year very well could be and beyond, but he is the centerpiece of what they're trying to do with the Chicago Cubs, to rebuild, and they think that he'll be the first baseman for years to come as long as he stays healthy.
This is only the 19th game he's playing at the big leagues, and it's been very solid. I asked, how do you replace an all-star? Laher, of course, a lot of his numbers are reflected against the 5 home runs he's hit against St. Louis pitching. But they say Rizzo already looks like a solid number 3 hitter in a National League lineup.
Soriano waves at it. Mentioned it earlier, he has 18 home runs, and remember, he did not hit a home run in the first month, so it gives you an indication that he's been swinging the bat quite well.
And his first home run May 15th against Jason Mott, and then he's added 17 more. Only Andrew McCutchen has hit more home runs in the National League since that time.
1 ball, 1 strike. Many teams are sending their scouts to St. Louis this weekend. Dempster tonight getting a look at Soriano and many others that Chicago has made available for deals. The 1-1.
Soriano still has 2 more years remaining on his big contract, $18 million each season, but at least this season he's producing, and someone may take a flyer on him.
Talk of Tampa Bay, maybe even the Yankees making a splash, and we know they could absorb that contract. 1-2 pitch. Popped up. Shallow left for Cowell. Makes the catch. Rizzo stranded at first. Cardinals coming up in the home half. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light, the sure sign of a good time. Here we go. By your Mid-America Chevy dealers, the #1 selling brand in St. Louis. Find us at stlchevy.com. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake, just no equal. 7-game homestand begins tonight as we look at Mike Matheny's lineup. Schumacher is put in the top spot, and Craig and Holiday, Beltran, Molina, Berkman, Freeze. Then Furcal drops down to the 8th position. His average has dropped down to 274. The pitcher Kyle Loesch, and that's presented by Southwest Airlines.
There you see start number 15 for Ryan Dempster. He leads the major leagues with his 1.86 ERA. And Dan, I know you've heard this. Streaks follow streaks.
I've heard you say that a time or two.
On June 5th, he started this streak of 33 scoreless innings. That also snapped a 18-start winless streak. So and during that time, and that dated back to last year where he had 18 starts without a win, he still was pitching pretty effective.
1 ball and 1 strike. So the question becomes, as Schumacher's in the leadoff spot, what has propelled him to be the pitcher that we see now as opposed to maybe a guy that at times has been 500?
And that's a great question. And they really said it's the only thing he's doing now is hitting his spots. He's not throwing any harder. Nothing's changed in his repertoire. It's just now he's making more pitches when he needs to. And we see Schumacher in the leadoff spot because he has very good numbers against Dempster, and Furcal does not.
That's taken low. 3 balls and 1 strike. Most believe this will be his final time this season in a Cubs uniform. That's not to say that he wouldn't be traded and then re-sign. He's a free agent to be with Chicago.
Could see him.
Change clubhouses?
Well, we could. You know, the Cardinals are rumored to be one of the teams that is interested in his service. Many people believe the front runner is the Dodgers, so he could make this start against the Cardinals tonight, and then next week pitching for the Dodgers against St. Louis.
A strikeout of Schumacher. That's how we start the game. De Jesus, we've seen him primarily in right. He's in center now with LaHare in right. Darwin Barney's been terrific defensively, and Clevenger gets the start behind the plate. That's presented by Dobbs. Right fielder tonight for St. Louis is Alan Craig. And Allen is hitting .299. Tied with David Freese with 14 home runs. They both homered the other day. He's driven in 46 in limited time. So a very big deal yesterday, late last night with the Blue Jays and Astros. 10-player swap. That's old school there, Al. Fly ball on the right that drops in for a hit in front of LaHare. First bank, first take as Holiday will dig in. Dempster 33 1/3. That's presently going right now, and this is the longest scoreless inning streak of this season. We saw Dickey, the Angels right-hander, and Gio Gonzalez, the former Oakland A. Remember, Dempster's been with Florida. He bounced around early in his career. He's been a closer before.
Very, very nice career from Canada. Second on the all-time innings pitch list of Canadian pitchers, third in wins.
That's a base hit into right. Craig will stop at second base, and situation tonight, Al. You get a base into right. How aggressive will the Cardinals be, knowing that that's LaHare, who's normally a first baseman and not an outfielder?
I would think that Oquendo will be extremely aggressive. And there you see the sinking action, but it starts a little high and ends up right below the belt. You got the second baseman playing close to the second base bag. Shoots it perfectly. Would have been a normal second base position. Would have been a nice, easy drop, line drive, possibly even a double play to end the inning.
Switch hitting Carlos Beltran. Leads the club in RBIs with 66.
Carlos got a rare base hit as a pinch hitter on Wednesday. He had a rough road trip, 4 for 18. Just obvious he needed a break.
He had a rough road trip, and he was not the only one. In this spot here where the Cardinals, when they look back at that road trip, realize they lost games. Runners in scoring position, and they just could not bring them in.
The good news is they had opportunities, but it really became frustrating when they couldn't deliver any clutch hits. But I still think it's a positive that they did have the opportunities, and they will turn it around. They're just too good a hitting team.
That is a base hit. Craig had to wait. They're going to wave him in. Soriano's throw will come into third base and cut off by Castro. 1-0 on the RBI by Beltran. 3 consecutive hits against Ryan Dempster, and that's RBI number 67.
So much for the scoreless streak. It ends at 33 1/3. A nice run, and see if the Cardinal can't just continue and just have a little more fun here. Craig had to make sure that ball got through. It wasn't a line drive caught by Castro, and then with Soriano going into left center, he had to turn all the way around. That was the signal for Oquendo to send him home.
Team record when Carlos this season, 1 or more RBIs, 26 and 12. See what he's meant to this offense. Here's Molina, and that's a base hit, right center field. Holiday will score. Beltran on his way to third, in there safely. Molina moves up to second. 2-0 Redbirds. 4 consecutive singles.
Molina had a very good road trip. He continues it and gets an RBI. Goes to second on the throw. Let that ball up. And really, 91 miles an hour today is, you can't throw that by many people. So Beltran goes in there. Oquendo telling him to slide to the infield side as the throw came to the outfield side.
This is the guy that needs to get it going. Missed 47 games, elected not to take the rehab assignment, and it has shown. On the road trip, he was 0 for 9, and he bounces one to the right side. They'll step on the bag, play at the plate, not in time. Puts it in play. Beltran scores. Aggressive play there. It's 3-0.
The right play by Rizzo, as he was just way too close to the bag, had to take the out, and still felt like he'd have a legitimate shot to throw home. And the 5th RBI of the year for Berkman. He has missed so much playing time. The ball hit to the right side. You can see Rizzo steps on the bag, did not waste any time at all. His concentration was looking to the plate, could look down, step on the bag, and throw on the run, and just running on contact.
Strike one on David Freese. This is as rare as you'll see from Ryan Dempster this year. Allowed only one first-inning run before tonight. That's the entire season.
You can't tell me, with all the rumors, and of course we do not know if there's even been a proposal for him to consider, as he has veto power.
He is a 10-5 player, so 10 years of Major League service and 5 consecutive with the Cubs. So because of that, he can veto a deal.
So they can work out a trade, but then they have to find his approval. And I wondered why, if you're going so hot right now, why not pull the trigger on the trade?
Even a step further than that, Al, is that you don't think his stock could get any higher, and you give them maybe an extra week or two, the team that he goes to. But the other thing is, Theo Epstein and Jed Hoyer, the GM, there's always the concern of injury.
Sure.
You risk him getting injured anytime he's out on the mound.
It's a very important consideration.
Freese hits it out of play. As you mentioned, Al, the front runner, at least in the press, from what we've heard, has been Los Angeles. He's very close with Ted Lilly. But the Dodgers' needs are greater than a starter. They need a bat and a corner infielder if they could find it, more so than Ryan Dempster.
And when you really think about it, the Cubs, it's not like you're asking return major league ready players. Basically they want guys that are going to be ready to play in 2 to 3 years.
See that he missed his spot, got away with it, tapped foul, the changeup by the right-hander Ryan Dempster.
Dempster may settle in after this inning, so take advantage of every opportunity. David Freese, second in the National League in this scenario, driving in runners with 2 outs.
On the outside corner, and a strikeout of David Freese. 2 in the inning for Dempster, but he allows 3. Saturday, September 29th. You do that in the afternoon. Stick around for the game. The Washington Nationals. Register now at Cardinals.com. A 3-0 lead as we move to the top of the second. Here's Brian LaHare. The Cardinals single-handedly made him an all-star.
I was just thinking that. Dan, he was voted in by the players, and I'm wondering, other than Cardinals, who was overly impressed with him. But great numbers a year ago, big power hitter numbers, and now he finds he loses his job to a young first baseman.
You wonder if it's in the best interest of the Cubs to hang on to LaHare and see if he can't play the outfield to keep that bat. Obviously, he's been productive, and he's inexpensive. I mean, they fully believe that next year's a rebuilding mode, so why not keep a guy that you're familiar with, you don't have to pay a lot of money to, and maybe you catch lightning in a bottle.
I agree with you, but just because you're dangling his name out there doesn't mean you're going to pull off a trade for him. So they can, if they don't get much in return, they may go ahead and keep him.
He's not quite Bud Norris, but he is like him as far as what he's done against St. Louis. Good numbers.
We were talking about the 260 average against other players. Not that impressive.
Leadoff walk to LaHare, and it brings in Clevenger.
Rare walks for Loesch. Very good in that department. Soto's played about 5 straight days, so just giving Clevenger a little time to give the breathing room for Soto, their #1 catcher.
Oh, 0-1 the count on Clevenger.
Get 3 runs, and then you turn around and walk the leadoff man. But that guy Loesch might have been saying, I hope I have the same strike zone that Dempster had.
Keep an eye on the Reds and Milwaukee and Pittsburgh tonight. Reds are playing Milwaukee, and they lead that ball game 1-0. Ryan Braun picked up his 1,000th hit already. He's done that very quickly.
We followed some of the comments of Nationals general manager Mike Rizzo.
Very closely. I'm interested to see what they do with Strasburg.
Right. As initially they said coming off Tommy John, would throw no more than about 160 innings.
Base hit into right. LaHare to second, and easily on his way to third.
And now with the Nationals leading the Eastern Division, they're saying it's not Davey Johnson, the manager, it's not the ownership, it's my decision and only my decision when we shut him down.
Toyota keys to the game. Dempster, Zimmerman, Cueto, Fires, and Loesch. Lowest ERA since the beginning of June. The case study for Rizzo is right there. Jordan Zimmerman, they cut him off after coming back from Tommy John surgery at 161 innings. And that's what they're talking about doing with Strasburg. Catch is made, throw into second base, run will score, and it's 3-1. Barney picks up his 27th of the year in the RBI department.
A little different when you're in the second division of your division than leading your division. And that's what prompted John Smoltz to say, hey, fake an injury. You know, you could pitch in September in the pennant race if you if they shut him down now for a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks.
He also,
save his innings.
Al brought up the point as you get a look at Valbuena. Smoltz saying that from his teammates' perspective, how he's being, maybe in their opinion, coddled, and they need him to win. You know, they want to see him out there every 5th day.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. You know, if given the choice, it does make more sense if you're pitch in a pennant race. And to my knowledge, Strasburg is saying, you're not shutting me down. I want to be that good teammate. I want to pitch.
2 outs. Clevenger back to the bag at first.
Cardinals could have a similar situation with Wainwright coming off of Tommy John.
Sure.
Worried about the innings total for Lance Lynn, who's never thrown more than 164. I just have a hard time thinking about Lance Lynn, as big and burly as he is. I just don't see that an innings barrier should be a problem.
Dempster on the first pitch. Out to Carlos Beltran in that familiar spot of center field. Cubs get on the board, and it's 3-1. News, that's August 18th, and you can find out more at missioncontinues.org. Dempster finishing up his warm-up tosses, and the Cardinals have a lead of 3-1. Home half of the second for Kyle, Loesch, and Schumacher. Interesting move here by Mike Matheny, just joining us and missed the pregame. Skip Schumacher talked about it, where he believes it's only a brief moving of Rafael Furcal to the 8th spot, Skip in the leadoff spot. We saw that a bunch with Tony La Russa, but Furcal has seen that average dip to 274. Mike trying to get him going and this lineup.
Well, I think it's just more of an indication that he has very good numbers against Dempster and Furcal does not. Furcal always, I think in many ways, Mike would love to give him another day off, but he's so valuable to this ball club. Take a little pressure off it, move him out of the leadoff spot, but
a liner, and when things are going wrong and not the right way, you do things like that. He lines out to short, 1 away. You might remember Ryan Dempster signed with the Cubs in January of 2004 as Loesch steps in. Had Tommy John surgery in August of 03. Cubs closer for 3 seasons. 85 saves in his career, over 100 wins. and a very popular player inside their clubhouse and among their fan base as well. Two away. Our broadcast is on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the United States Armed Forces, serving in 175 countries and aboard ships at sea. They're watching around the world tonight. Iraq, Germany, Italy, Southwest Asia, South Korea, Japan. Wherever you may be, to the men and women of our armed forces, thank you for what you do. There's Schumacher, who struck out looking. Cubs wanted to make sure and protect themselves. Casey Coleman, we've seen him before, was scratched from a start at AAA just in case Dempster was traded before this ball game here tonight.
Could be talking about the same scenario tomorrow night. Matt Garza rumored to be on the block.
A short hop pick at third, and the Cardinals go 1-2-3. Top of the lineup coming up against Loesch. St. Louis on top. Wireless receiver from AT&T Uverse. Visit att.com/freeyourtv. Rethink possible. MyKiaSt.Louis.com. And get the All-American Jack Combo at Jack in the Box. It's a no-nonsense burger with fries and a drink for only $4.99 plus tax at participating stores. David DeJesus leads it off. It's 3-1 St. Louis. A Friday night at Busch Stadium. Top of the third rolls in. Cubs and Cardinals. The Mad Hungarian is here. Dan McLaughlin and Jim Hayes as well. This is their leadoff man, DeJesus. Grounded out to second to Skip Schumacher, who is tonight the Cardinals leadoff man.
Mike Matheny wanting to shake things up. You guys mentioned Skip's success against Ryan Dempster, but also the fact that Skip has been on fire of late. 6 for 14 on the recent road trip, and since July 4th he's hitting .478.
Pitch that seemed to be up to DeJesus, and for the second consecutive inning, Chicago has their leadoff man on.
Little loop in that breaking ball and able to lift it over the head of Schumacher at second.
Any indication, Jim, from Mike Matheny when he's talking to the press about potentially having Skip be your everyday guy, and he is the one that you can count on every day at second base?
I got the sense that they just wanted to temporarily shake things up. No indication this is a long-term move. You heard Skip Schumacher on the pregame saying Raquel is the leadoff guy. That's the way Skip feels. And in terms of the way Skip approaches it, he says, look, the way I am, it's always the same approach no matter where I am in the lineup. I'm just trying to get on base, so no change for Skip.
Skip has really evolved into that very reliable veteran that you kind of plan on him being a super utility guy, the outfielder, move around there at second base, pinch hitter, come off the bench, but yet his bat keeps on finding him in the game and starting.
Here's a 0-1 pitch. Off the glove of Loesch and a base hit into center field. Loesch almost had it. Then Furcal almost had it. Winds up to be back-to-back hits. And 2 on for Anthony Rizzo.
Got two starters that are going very well, but neither one of them had great success against their opponent tonight. And Loesch, boy, he could have turned that into a double play with a catch. Then Furcal almost makes a sensational play. And the scorebook, it'll look like a line drive base hit.
Al mentioned that Rizzo's been up, this being his 19th game, and already with 5 game-winning RBIs.
Notice that.
Most recently, Sunday against the Diamondbacks, and now Molina out to visit. He was acquired by the Cubs from San Diego for Andrew Kashner. We've seen him throw 100 miles an hour here at Busch Stadium. And initially, to start his professional career, he was selected by the Red Sox 6th round of 2007. So front office of the Cubs, they know him quite well. And to break down what he's meant to this team, you look at their record, most importantly, what he's done against right-handed pitching on the road. And then we even tell you what he's done leading off an inning.
And he was acquired from Boston in the Adrian Gonzalez deal. So he was kind of the centerpiece there. And I think you look back on it now, he had his debut last season with San Diego, but they brought him up so early, probably was not ready for it. And now they may pay for the rest of their life for what this kid, where a lot of people project that he can do, because they evaluated him on just so few at bats. $100-mile-an-hour pitcher isn't that big a deal anymore, is it?
Just seems like it's time and again. Any bullpen in the league has got one of those guys that's throwing that hard.
Exactly. But
Rizzo is also, along with his teammate Tony Campana, overcome cancer, which is a neat story, obviously. He's overcome Hodgkin's lymphoma. And they say that any off day in Chicago, you'll find him the children's hospitals or down in Iowa when he was there, minor leagues, trying to visit kids that are sick.
Great. Then you root for him even harder.
You do. They also talk about how calm he has been. Again, he will not be 23 until August 8th. And all the hype surrounding him, big media market like Chicago, and yet no big deal to him. He's handled it very well. And the team is reflected in what he's done at the plate, which is provide offense.
But last year, when he came up at age 21, he hit 141 in 128 at bats, 8 doubles, 1 triple, 1 home run, 9 RBIs. And they maybe projected him that maybe he wasn't going to be that good, but the Cubs are thrilled to have him.
2-2 on the inside corner, strikeout of Rizzo. First strikeout for Loesch, and it brings in Alfonso Soriano, the Cubs left fielder.
I thought Dempster had a couple strikeouts in the first inning that were maybe borderline. That pitch just tails back. Left-hand hitter gives up on it. Looks like it's going to be inside, and then it tails back into the strike. Greg Maddux made that pitch famous.
Sure did. That's back to Loesch. Nice play. Out at second. On to first. The stretch. Yes. He's on the bag. Strong throw by Schumacher. Just enough on it to turn the double play. And it's a double play started by Loesch.
Not a very good throw, but that superior arm strength by Schumacher makes a difference. Had the runner coming down on him. Okendo works hard with all those infielders. Only thing he said to Schumacher is don't get hurt and complete the double play. But Skip knew that runner was coming. He bent down, taking the throw off the shoe tops from Loesch, not where you want it.
There's Alan Craig, and in all seriousness, Al, that is the concern of any time you put a position player or anybody at second base that's not used to playing the position. You worry about trying to turn two and somebody coming in hard to break up the double play.
Skip has enough experience there, but you're still right.
Castro. One away.
We saw Matt Carpenter get into a situation just like that when he was put out at second base. There are nuances of that position that I don't think folks understand, especially for guys used to playing corner infield or maybe in the outfield.
Well, and there's other times too when you'll get hung out to dry by one of your teammates with a bad throw, and it doesn't matter if you know how to the footwork around the bag or not. Sometimes that runner coming down, you get caught.
Here is Matt Holliday.
Matt still a little bit sore from getting plunked on the last road trip. He got hit on the lower thigh on his left leg, just above the knee, and he said it's not really an issue now, but I saw the bruise, and that thing is massive. So it's understandable that he did miss a game, though he did want to play, but that thing got him pretty well.
1 ball, 1 strike. That was a Randy Wolf pitch that hit Holliday the other night. Singled and scored back in the first. So he's back in the lineup, and the Cardinals know that Kyle McClellan will not be. He was out signing autographs, part of the Bush Bash tonight, and hopefully at some point Mike Matheny in August will see Jaime Garcia.
Yeah, Jaime's back and throwing. He'll throw again a bullpen session tomorrow.
Look at this. Launched past Big Macklin. That is one of the longest home runs here at Busch Stadium. Goodness gracious. 15 home runs is for Matt Holliday. None bigger than that one.
$15 home runs, 60 RBIs. Not really a home run hitter, but only because he doesn't elevate the ball. More of a line drive hitter. Here he goes down and gets this one. Look at that. Almost swinging one-handed. But it goes beyond and to the center field side of Big Macland, about halfway up.
That may be the longest that we have ever seen here. I don't think we've ever seen one that long. That is an unbelievable shot from Matt Holliday.
469 feet.
Wow.
And that is the longest. That's the longest in Busch Stadium 3 history.
So we were right.
Yes, you were. You're the one that said it, so it was all you.
Oh, I know you were in agreement, Al, like you always are. There's a line shot to LaHare.
But I held my tongue.
Hard hit off the bat of Beltran, but caught in right. And don't forget about watching the Cardinals on your favorite mobile device. MLB.com at Bat 12. Just head to MLB.tv or Cardinals.com. It's nice when Big Macland doesn't stop it. Then you can just keep, just keeps on going. You see how far that baby's going to go. Those people that are standing there below Big Macland, yeah, right around there, they're thinking, there's no chance, even in batting practice, I'm going to get a souvenir. Because you don't see it in BP like that very often.
He'll put on a show now and again in BP, but that thing was massive.
There's no one stronger than Holliday. He's a high average line drive hitter that on occasion ball go out of the ballpark.
Let me just finish up about Jaime real quick. He's going to throw again tomorrow. It'll be the third time he throws a side session. The first two he's just throwing fastballs. He's hoping that tomorrow he can mix in some curveballs. And he says he's feeling great. So Jaime Garcia making progress.
Oh, and 2 here on Yadier Molina.
The jam shot there that he fought off.
If you're Dempster, it's got to take a little mental toll on you, doesn't it?
No.
Giving one up like that?
No, it doesn't. It counts as one home run, whether they sneak over the wall or it's a mammoth blast.
One like that, though, you have to worry about the safety of the fans out there.
Dempster is very concerned about the fan base, but not overly.
Two and two.
Don't worry about the psyche of the men on the mound.
You're right, Al. It's the men in the booth.
Leave me out of this one.
2 of 3.
Dan's on my side.
Always, Al.
Thank you, Dan.
Whatever you say.
Oh, here we go.
Especially when Jim's in the booth. I'm not worried at all about the psyche of Ryan Dempster. Here's a 3-2. And he walked him.
Walked him out.
Molina on for the second time, and it brings in Berkman.
You mentioned that Berkman did get an RBI on this ground out to first base last time up. 0 for 10 since coming off the disabled list. He talked with Jamie Quirk, who I think Jamie might have been maybe his first year in Houston as a coach, might have been Berkman's last year. Either way, Jamie, a really good guy, been around a long time. And Jamie said, "Oh, you're going old school, huh?"
Berkman lines it down into the corner. Molina touches the bag at second. And they will hold him up at third. Berkman. Nice to see that bat speed there as he questioned it the other day.
Well, that's it. He told Jamie Quirk, Jamie said, "You're going old school." Because in the old days, there was no rehab available to the disabled list. It was a 21-day disabled list, and then you had to come right to the active roster. A splitter that just hangs up, and he rifles it down the corner for a double. And it sounded like what Jamie was saying, that Lance was really questioning himself whether he should have gone on that rehab or not. But right now, he looks like he's fine. And maybe it's just one hit and get you back on track.
Well, Lance said, you know, he didn't think he'd be 100% in terms of his timing when he came back, bat speed, but he would have good at bats. But I'm sure he didn't expect an offer. But hopefully he's breaking at him.
And it was not only the offer, but it was almost 40 or 50% of the time he struck out, and really kind of had a couple off-balance swings with little dribblers. But he is a professional hitter, and if there's anybody who's going to be able to do it, sitting out for 2 months with knee surgery, would be Lance.
Even K-Rod, and watching his reaction to the fly ball, the bases loaded to end the game with Berkman up the other day, he thought it was gone too. And Berkman said that if his bat speed would have been just slightly better, he said the swing was good. He said he centered it, but did not carry out of the ballpark, obviously, and the Cardinals lost. 1-2 on David Freese. Called out on strikes first time up.
This game is so mental. Just having the ability to say that ball would have been a grand slam if I had my bat speed. To have Dempster shake off the 3 runs that he allowed in the first inning, just go out and say, okay, I gave up 2 more hits and a long home run, but I can get the final out here.
If you're a scout and you're watching this game and you're thinking about giving up good prospects, your report would be what with what you've seen, Al, so far here tonight?
There's nothing wrong with what you've seen. You know, he's had 5 great outings where he's not allowed to run. He had 33 scoreless innings. He's gotten the ball up a few times, but I look at, you know, I'm looking at what he's throwing. You know, he's sound. He's physically in good shape,
and the body of work too.
Yeah, the body of work. You know, I mean, you knew at some point it was going to end. Now, was it going to be long enough to break Oral Hershiser's all-time scoreless streak, or was it going to end tonight like after a third of an inning? But there's a lot in the stands here,
including Alan Bennis.
And they're not only just watching him either.
The other side of the coin, you know, at some point the Cardinal offense would get in gear too, and someone was going to have to pay a price. And so far tonight, it's Dempster.
Yeah, the Cardinals still leading the National League in so many categories offensively.
It's Jim Henry right there. He's now working for the Yankees, and he was the one that traded for and then signed Ryan Dempster, former Chicago Cub GM. 2-2.
Yankees one of the ones that would be interested in him, and who better to send a longtime Chicago general manager who has seen more games of Dempster in how long? But
here's a 3-2. Dempster struck out 2 in the first, and then also allowed 4
consecutive base hits, a 1-2-3 second. And trouble here in the third. It's 4-1 St. Louis. Little bit high and a walk to David Freese. The second walk in the inning, second in the game. Bases loaded for Rafael Furcal. Lined out to short on the first pitch he saw. 0 for 1.
Cal not used to hitting in the 8th spot. Hadn't done it this year. Just twice last year.
Dempster is missed on the last 2 pitches, but not by much. 1-0 here on Furcal. You think about a veteran like Dempster, the kind of year he's put together, and trying to knock him out, maybe even here in the 3rd inning.
Always try, and it's the goal every night to get into the opponent's bullpen as soon as possible. Everybody's worried about the last 3 innings in their bullpen, and many times the Achilles heel is long relief.
Two and 1 the count. Furcal breaks his bat, and the catch is made. Twice he is lined out. Sit back and enjoy this one off the bat of Matt Holliday. A little bit of history tonight. The longest ever in this ballpark, 469 feet. Start planning your next Missouri getaway. This is the Current River near Salem. Camping, RV sites, cabins. Check it out at visitmo.com. Lahair, Clevenger, and Darwin Barney. Cardinals a 4-1 lead.
See if Kyle Loesch this time will not walk the leadoff man like he did in the second. It was Lahair, and he came around to score.
Number of years in the Seattle minor league system. Say he's a prospect coming into this season. Not a young one, though. A number of years in the minor leagues, and Chicago is looking for that guy to bridge the gap from last year to Anthony Rizzo. Winds up being LaHare, and he winds up being an all-star this year. Little floater out to left, and that'll drop in for a base hit. LaHare on base for the second time. That hit to go along with a walk.
LaHare has 5 home runs against the Cardinals, 5 of his 14. He led the Pacific Coast League in home runs a year ago.
Third consecutive inning, the Cubs have put their leadoff man aboard. Last inning, it was sac fly by Barney to give them their 1 run. 2 balls and no strikes. Al told you it's Matt Garza tomorrow against Jake Westbrook. And then Sunday, Lance Lynn and Travis Wood.
Starting pitching has been very good for both these clubs of late. Chicago firmly entrenched in 5th place, but they're 14-5 their last 19 games and have the best record in the National League since June 25th. After 7 years in the club organization since he was drafted back in 06.
2-2 pitch. Slicing foul and out of play. A few weekends from now, we'll have that 82 reunion team coming through. And most of the team will be here. And many former Cardinals that we don't normally have the chance to see. Bruce Sutter will be back. His bobblehead will be part of that weekend. Cardinals will wear the throwback uniforms along with the Brewers, the team that they beat back in 1982. It's the Build-A-Bear giveaway, and there's a strikeout. Also the replica ticket. Keith Hernandez is coming back for that. Jim Cott.
Backdoor cutter. Down the way, gets the call.
I am looking forward to that. Darwin Barney, sac fly RBI, first time up, strike 1. Big gap in the left center field. And we've talked a lot about Berkman and getting his timing back, and plain and simple, Al, the only way that's going to happen is him to play.
Playing time, but yet they're going to be cautious on back-to-back games with him covering from the knee surgery. And I'm sure you'll do that maybe for another week, 10 days, and then let him go. Nice problem to have. Too many quality bats, not enough positions to put them in.
Cardinals have turned a double play tonight. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Outfield can shorten up a little bit with Barney. Doesn't have great speed. great power.
And it's popped up. Molina throws the mask near the screen and out of room. One ball and 2 strikes. Back-to-back strikeouts for Loesch, and that's 3 tonight. Here's the Bear that we were talking about moments ago, the Build-A-Bear Workshop Day. That'll be on the Sunday, the weekend against Milwaukee, August 5th. Throwback baby blue uniforms. Even the Bear will have that. Kids can come on out, be a part of the Build-A-Bear Workshop Day. The replica ticket the night before. Bruce Sutter bobblehead is on Friday. Cardinals.com to get your tickets. Here's Valbuena with a runner at first. Quietly, Kyle Loesch has turned into one of the most consistent pitchers the Cardinals have on their roster this season.
What is it, 8 consecutive quality starts? Thought about him going for win number 10, but should be about 12 or 13.
Ground ball out in front on the changeup. Schumacher had to wait, and he makes the play. Loesch leads it off when we come back. Celebrating his 10th birthday here at the ballpark. Carsoup.com email the booth question. This is from Overland Park, Kansas. Why do you think it took so long for Ron Santo to be inducted into the Hall of Fame? Good question.
Great question, and I guess one of the things that first would come to mind is the fact he played for the Cubs and they didn't win. And shouldn't be a factor, but it is with the voting of the writers. So no blaming broadcasters, but what an injustice that great honor did not happen while Ronnie was living.
Passed away, I believe it's been about 18 months or so. And he will be inducted into baseball's Hall of Fame this weekend. Tim McCarver and the great shortstop Barry Larkin.
One of our favorites. We always look forward to going to Chicago or seeing Ronnie here in St. Louis, and nobody rooted for his team any harder. I remember the old stadium, and then I'd see him downstairs and he's getting ready to go back to the hotel, and I said, damn, Ron, my car's right here. car's right here. I'll give you a ride to the hotel. No, I ain't going to go with you. You're going to say something bad about my car. I promise I won't say a word. Well, don't you talk about the game. I won't say a word. We get in the car. I wouldn't say a word, and then he'd start complaining himself.
Oh, absolutely.
But nobody loved his teddy bears more than Ron Santo.
Dealt with diabetes.
Childhood diabetes.
Right.
You know, he had to hide it.
Folks didn't know when he was playing baseball that he had it. And later in life had lower leg amputated, both. And obviously very tough for him to get around, but his Cubs meant so much to him. And Wrigley Field being as old as it is, it's not an easy booth to get to.
No, and I can remember during his playing days, as Chicago would win, and on his way down in the left field corner to their clubhouse, he'd do a little kick. Just playing with Kessinger and Jim Hickman and some of his former teammates, getting to know Fergie so well, that some of the stories I learned about him and Glenn Beckert.
It's a fly ball into shallow right, and the catch is made by LaHare. Loesch is retired, back to the top of the lineup. Barry Larkin, 9-time Silver Slugger at shortstop, was a very good defensive player, but from the national perspective, the Gold Glove was always going to Ozzie Smith.
First time Ozzie did not win it, it went to Barry Larkin. Barry is Cincinnati native, and was a great athletic family.
Moeller High School. He went on to Michigan and drafted again by Cincinnati. He was drafted by them twice, the second time 4th overall. Fox Saturday Baseball, Rangers and Angels, White Sox, Tigers. Fox Saturday Baseball presented by Budweiser begins at 2:30 only on Fox.
I want to pass along big recovery, a little surgery from our buddy Patrick Everly, as he's recovering from that surgery, and want him to get on his feet as quick as possible.
Marchot did not want Barry Larkin initially to be part of the team. Remember, Stillwell was the shortstop, and she loved him.
Kurt Stillwell.
Yep. And Marchot thought that was the guy. He needs to play shortstop, so Larkin obviously overcame that little hurdle all the way to the Hall of Fame.
That wasn't her only misjudgment.
That was pretty small on the scale of some of the misjudgments in her illustrious career. Scouts, all they do is watch baseball. Why do we need those guys? Why do we need to pay them? Marchot. Always wanted to turn the lights off after games very quickly.
Sometimes during the game.
The 2-2. Craig rips it to third. And he's 1 for 3 on the night. We head to the 5th, 4-1. bobblehead presented by Deerbergs and Coca-Cola. And tickets still remain all weekend long. 1982 team will be here. And Friday night, you'll take home the bobblehead. Good seats still remaining for that weekend of the 82 reunion. 4-1 in favor of St. Louis. Two Hall of Famers, Whitey and Bruce Sutter, in Cooperstown this weekend. Dempster looks at a pitch that's right down the middle. Maybe a little high, but called a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Puts it in play, and it's a fly ball out to left. Holiday is under it. 1 away. Busch Stadium in St. Louis, a battle inside the NL Central, the two great rivals. Cubs and Cards on Fox Sports Midwest. Dan, Al, and Jim with you. Rick and Al will be with you for the weekend. And a reminder that the World Champions can be seen on Fox Sports Midwest tomorrow and Sunday. We initially thought those would be national telecasts. That's not the case. And tomorrow night on local Fox Sports Midwest, as well on Sunday.
6:15 start tomorrow night. 1:15 on Sunday. Close enough. 12:30 is our pregame show.
De Jesus, a liner out to left, and that drops in front of Holiday.
Jesus, just a good solid ball player, and little cutter down and away goes with that pitch. There's Dave McKay, who was here at first base all through the tenure of Tony La Russa. And how about the fact, if you're a Cardinal fan, we'll have Hall of Famers Red Cheney's, Whitey Herzog, and will be Hall of Famer Tony La Russa. Special recognition at this weekend in Cooperstown.
Fights it off and out at short. Catch is made by Fracao. Starlin Castro is hitless tonight. Here's Rizzo, who is 1 for 2. He has struck out and also singled. Outfield is straight away and deep. Strike 1. Changeup has been an effective pitch for Kyle Loesch. Seems like, Al, from day number 1, you remember he made the opening night start in Miami, the 1 game to begin the entire season, and his changeup was effective that night, and it just seems at times to get better and better as Berkman makes the catch, and the broken bat hit by Rizzo. Holiday leads it off when we come back. Cardinals baseball brought to you by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. Stand by for the official vehicles of the Cardinals. Last time up, the longest home run in the history of this ballpark, 469 feet, the Nissan drive of the game. And what a blast that was.
Interesting to me that Dempster pitching here in the 5th inning with only 72 pitches, and they have Sean Kemp thrown in their bullpen.
Here's a ground ball backhanded by Rizzo. One away. First time that Holiday has been retired tonight. Here's Beltran. Remember, you have $8 tickets beginning on Monday. Dodgers series, thanks to Carlos and what he did in the home run derby. $8 seats available at Cardinals.com. They've sold thousands of those. Beltran with an RBI tonight. And that was back in the first inning. Scored Craig, and it was RBI number 67. Rips that into right field, but right at Lahair. Cardinals have hit into some tough luck. Some line shots. Saw one at third, that one to right. Garza, Westbrook tomorrow right here on Fox Sports Midwest at 5:30. Budweiser, what's on tap? Here's Molina, RBI single and a walk. Lefty Brian Fuentes made his debut with the organization earlier today, and we'll tell you about that when we come back. We're through 5. It's 4-1 St. Louis. Where you'd like to sit, home or away, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the World Champions. Beautiful night for baseball here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, and glad you're with us. To my right is the Mad Hungarian, Dan McLaughlin, with you. Jim Hayes is somewhere around the ballpark digging up stories and wonderful information on that award-winning post-game show, Cardinals Live, that you'll see after the ball game tonight. Here's Soriano. He'll lead it off. Then LaHare and Clevenger. Next, line one is the post-game show producer, Tim Trokey, Brad Straubinger, Colleen Ryan, and they all put a lot of hours into these shows. Mike Pyle as well. He's longtime director.
I'm sure they'll show you replays of the Cincinnati's win. They win again tonight, 3-1 over Milwaukee.
You're on those post-game shows an awful lot. The pregame, they work hard, don't they?
They work hard.
I didn't say you.
I said they work hard.
That's right. Here's the 1-1. Down the left field line, and that is a foul ball. Nothing new for the Cubs to see home runs off the bat of Soriano. Most consecutive seasons with 18 or more home runs. These are all active streaks. Ortiz, who's on the DL, Teixeira, and Detroit slugger Miguel Cabrera. Remember, the Yankees at one time did have Alfonso Soriano
playing second base.
Two balls and two strikes.
When he first showed up, and what an explosive bat. Fiery body, and the ball would just explode off of his bat.
Explosive speed, too.
Yes.
Three-two pitch. Hit sharply to short. For Kyle, bobbles, throws to first, stays with it. Berkman can't pick it. Soriano is aboard. Kyle had two errors the first inning of the ball game on Wednesday.
Kind of a tough hop, hit hard, but he scored an error, and rightfully so. Berkman tried to pick it at the other end. So that's 4 errors in the last 3 games for Call. He's had a couple tough hops, and he's had problems throwing. And he still has a cannon for an arm, but there are times where he's just thrown it in the dirt, other times a little bit wide. I'm sure it's just, I think it's more of a sign of he has played so much. He's played more games this year already than he had about the last 3 or 4 years.
And he's closing in more games this year than he had 2 years ago. As you mentioned, he's already surpassed what he did a season ago. Just had such a good start and means so much to the team. He plays a very good defense at shortstop. He's your leadoff man most nights.
I think that's it. I mean, he had the off day yesterday, but I think they'd love to give him a couple days off in a row, but he's just too valuable.
3-0 now on LaHare.
Now Loesch has to put the error aside and don't complicate it by walking the next batter.
It's 5 straight innings the Cubs have had their leadoff man on. Three and 1. Mentioned Brian Fuentes, and he will pitch again tomorrow. He's actually starting games, and he is with the Gulf Coast League Cardinals, and hopefully this week promoted to Springfield, and then we'll see him before the 31st of July. Good changeup that time.
Very good changeup. Great arm action. Kyle doesn't throw particularly hard, but he spots all of his pitches effectively. Pitching with a lot of confidence because he's healthy. Cutter.
3-2. We'll do it again.
Fastball in.
And that's out of play.
Fastball down the way.
Well, in years past, Al, you would maybe see a more aggressive approach from Alfonso Soriano. There was talk earlier in his career that I remember them saying that he's with the Yankees. They felt 40-40, maybe even 50-50 at some point. But running is just not part of his game anymore.
Trying to backdoor that cutter. Left-handed hitter. Break over the plate down and away and try and get a hitter to give up on it. A roll over on it. Get a nice little ground ball to second. Good pitch for a youngster. Changeup.
Got him. Couldn't pull the trigger. Looking for something else. And it's a called third strike.
Came all the way back from a 3-0 count. Pick up his 4th strikeout. Hare just couldn't pull it, did he?
Pitch in the dirt to Steve Clevenger. Falls behind again, 2-0.
I want to get into that pattern. 81 pitches thrown. Loesch usually of late has been consistently going 7 innings.
There's a liner out to left. Catch made by Holiday. You want to be in Chicago for the game on the 28th? Head to Fox Sports Midwest Girls Facebook page and enter the Windy City Weekend Sweepstakes. Darwin Barney. Sac fly RBI in the 2nd and struck out in the 4th. Cubs could have a big say in what happens in the NL Central. Majority of the next month, they're playing teams inside this division. Barney hits a high fly ball out to left. Holiday under it, makes the catch. runs against St. Louis in a single season. No Sammy Sosa. Ernie Banks, Hack Wilson, and LaHare is on his way, but not tonight. What did we say, Al? 5 home runs for
home
LaHare?
runs. I think in 7 games or so.
Berkman retired on the fly ball to Soriano. Freese has been called out on strikes, and he walked back in the 3rd.
David hit very well on the road trip. 7 for 18. Started out a little slow, and then he started picking it up. A few walks here and there. Got a 3-game hitting streak.
Misses in, and it's 3-0.
Dempster's thinking this could be his last inning wearing a Cub uniform.
Freese pops it foul and out of play. Well, he's been around long enough to realize that's probably the case, and I don't know, Al, what do you think? Emotions at all, you think, for Dempster tonight?
Well, I think what you do is you just have a very positive outlook, and you just say, I'm going to some place that they really want me. I could get in pennant race.
Backhanded by Barney and throws to first. The stretch by Rizzo. Fine play all around for the 2nd out. More than 440,000 Americans die each year from smoking-related illnesses, including cancer, heart disease, stroke. 10,000 in Missouri alone. Call the Missouri Tobacco Quit line to quit now. 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
You said, Dan, Dempster's been around a long time. You understand this is a business, and he's a big part of the decision making with veto rights.
There's a broken bat and a base hit by Furcal. 2nd time he has broken his bat and hitting it to the right side. Last time caught at 2nd base. This one drops in for a hit.
The ball on the line all 3 times. Finally got something to pay for.
Well, at least the Cardinals get Loesch through this lineup here in the home half of the 6th. Oh for 2. He's grounded out to 2nd, also flied out to right. Our director tonight is Tom Mead. Mike Helling, our producer. Brian McCann with us. Dan Hyatt, Keith Oberman, and the rest of the crew. Danny Martinez as well.
Keith Oberman has been exceptional again tonight.
Thought he did some of his best work on the road trip that we just finished up.
You know, he was so good, it was almost invisible.
1-0 pitch to Loesch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mentioned that 10-player deal took place last night with the Blue Jays. They're 3.5 out in the wild card. Astros going nowhere, but they do get 3 players to head to Class A, top prospects for the Blue Jays and from their organization. Also, Jonathan Sanchez goes to Colorado. Jeremy Guthrie to Kansas City. Guthrie 3-9 with the Rockies, and Sanchez, the former Giant, 1-6 with the Royals.
They put Sanchez on waivers, right? And claimed by Colorado, apparently worked out a trade.
Colorado knows all about Sanchez, his days in the NL West.
Guthrie was kind of worn out his welcome. So maybe change of scenery to help both those pitchers.
There's a ground ball. Barney force play at second base, and Castro is there. Cards on top on this Friday night 4-1. Seats still remaining. The Cubs and Cardinals again tomorrow, a night game. 5:30 will come your way, and then Sunday is the day game. Brewers lose the opener against Cincinnati in what is their biggest series of the year. They'll face Bronson Arroyo, Johnny Cueto the next 2 nights. Marco Estrada for Milwaukee, 7 hits in 7 innings, but not enough. He's winless this year.
Homer Bailey picked up his 9th victory.
3-1 was the final. Here's Valbuena. Campana is on deck. I think that is your favorite player. The new faces that you've seen. You like this
Tony
guy.
Campana he is the difference maker as far as I'm concerned.
Couple of hops to short for Kyle up with it. Low throw, and Berkman makes the play. I think it's safe to say that Berkman has looked a little uneasy on some of these plays at first. What do you think, Al?
I think that's a fair assessment.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that.
But here's another one of these sinkers that throws right here, and he is definitely not look like the athlete
that he is.
That he is, exactly. Look at, he's hearing it a little bit from the bench.
So Dempster, his night is through, and here is Tony Campana. No home runs, 5 RBIs, known for his speed, and that is not what he wants to do. Puts it in the air for Cal on the move. Holiday is over. It drops in, and nobody get it for strike 1.
Hustling after that play, but just beyond their reach, and you're really worried about a mismatch here, as Furcal could Well, they just sit on a park bench and talk to each other. But Fakal could have been hit.
Here's his speed. Loesch knows it, makes the play.
Banna was 6 for 12 as a pinch hitter this year. Prior to that bunt attempt. Salas in the bullpen along with Browning, but not going to be needed this inning.
David DeJesus.
Salas and Browning.
Browning's been a pleasant surprise, and we saw a couple of outings that were positive from Salas on the road trip. 4-1 lead for St. Louis here in the top of the 7th.
The Cardinal fans would love to see Trevor Rosenthal in person. Newest addition to the bullpen.
First major league strikeout, Corey Hart. Pretty good bat to get, and it was a called third strike at 100 miles per hour on the gun in the stadium at Miller Park and on our gun, which is never wrong on Fox Sports Midwest. It is never wrong, Al.
Jesus with 2 of the 6 hits off of Loesch tonight. All 6 hits have been singles.
There's a fly ball, right center. Beltran gliding to it. Let's stretch. Birds on top. It's 4-1. And they lead the ball game by the score of 4-1. A packed house tonight. Cards and Cubs in this truly wonderful rivalry over the years. Corpus is in relief of Dempster. 6 innings, 4 runs, 7 hits, walked 2, struck out 2, gave up a home run. Manny Corpus comes in, a hard throwing right-hander, and another example of a former position player now making a living on the mound.
Manny, 29 years of age, Most people remember him for pitching with Colorado and as their closer back in 07 in the World Series. 07, he was 4-2, 19 saves, and a 2.08 ERA. That's the lowest mark in Rockies history. He had Tommy John surgery last year, and he's been pretty effective this year. 14 of his 17 outings have been scoreless. Baby Risa charitable function that Skip Schumacher instituted. Great success. A lot of his teammates showed up there and a lot of great Cardinal fans.
Baby Risa night here at the ballpark. You can get field box level seats for just $20, where half of that will go to the Stutzman's Foundation to fight Krabbe disease for children that have terminal illness.
And Dan, I was at the event last night, and also there is a family, the Cunninghams, that have experienced this. Their baby died of Krabbe disease and have really lobbied hard the legislature and got a law passed that it has not been enacted yet, but soon will be, hopefully, that, you know, the blood test that it's not an additional blood test, but the blood test, the heel test that they have on all newborns, that the state of Missouri will be starting to run that same Krabbe disease test, for if it's caught early enough can be stopped.
Schumacher pulls it foul. My understanding is that the 4 million births every year, only 20 babies are affected with Krabbe disease. It's as rare as it gets. And Skip will tell you it is preventable.
Yeah, so if they catch it at birth, they can. There are kids that contracted it, but are now living into their 20s and beyond, but if you don't catch it, when his friends weren't aware of it until about 4.5 months, it is terminal.
And if you have a chance, head to the Cardinals website, cardinals.com/Baby Risa. Video up. You can see the story of the Stutzmans. You'll see the baby, and also a chance to purchase those tickets. Great discount field box seats for just $20. And that's against the Giants, too. 2 hops out to LaHare and a base hit for Schumacher.
Careful with that off-speed pitch down and in to a left-handed batter. It's right in their natural swing. And good to see Skip with a hit here. Skip is just such a great, not only one of our favorite ball players on the team, and has been for many years, but you don't get a finer young man you won't find.
Here's Alan Craig, and he looks at a ball low.
We were talking about last half inning that Cardinals need to do something. Been sitting on that 4-1 game for a long time. Kyle Loesch has pitched so effectively, but with Mitchell Boggs warming up, we'll see if Kyle Loesch is through, and he's done his job.
Say that Corpus is throwing more, not necessarily sidearm, but definitely 3/4 to even below that. Used to be more of a overhand type delivery. Used to be a guy that threw really hard too.
And he does seem like he's dropping down a lot more than we realize. And is that to alleviate pressure on the elbow coming off the Tommy John, or going to create another surgery? There he really dropped down.
Well, no doubt our thoughts and prayers with those affected in the shootings today in Colorado. And there's a black jersey hanging in the Rockies dugout tonight that says, "We remember 720." Flags flying at half-mast at Petco Park this evening. Schumacher with a base hit to right, now 1 for 4 against this right-hander in his career. Another situation tonight where it seems like the Cardinals have had opportunities to score and they have not cashed in. Ground ball, diving stop at third, and they'll get the lead man safe at first as Craig.
Almost turned that into a double play. Bueno was acquired from Toronto, claimed him off waivers, and they said defensively he has been outstanding. There's an example of it. And they said offensively his numbers are very deceptive, to where he come up with a lot of key hits, just not hit for an average much. John Jay will pinch run.
Well, Craig did not look all that comfortable going down the line.
No.
And immediately I wonder if they picked up on that, and he's out of the game. You have John Jay.
Well, I think you've got defensively, but
yep.
You know, he's just still not running 100%. And there he kind of pulled up a little bit lame, or they saw that he pulled up and just questioned. Remember, he had the hamstring. Started the season coming back from the knee surgery.
Holiday crushed a ball earlier, the longest home run this stadium's history. And because of that, when you hit one nearly 500 feet, you become not only a potential Hungo Award winner, but yes, Matt Holliday, you are a Schnucks difference maker.
Good segue. And a reminder.
It is a Hungo night, and that's why I did it, Al. Making sure
it
that
just seems like they come every night. I just forget. You'll have to tweet to me next Friday.
I don't tweet.
Neither do I.
So I'll text you.
Text me. There's another reason why we are such close friends.
All the texting?
No, the non-tweeters.
The fact that I have to remind you about your personal award that you hang
yes.
on your mantle. And many Cardinals do that as well. Here's a 1-1 to Holiday. Taken inside, 2 balls and 1 strike. Pittsburgh wins again. They beat Miami 4-3.
I bet in the smaller ballpark, I guess couldn't be too much smaller capacity, talking about people, I bet Pittsburgh had a bigger crowd than Cincinnati.
Apparently that was the case. Saw the numbers the other day. Cincinnati is ahead of where they were a year ago, but they're not on pace to draw $3 million, well below that. And they've just signed long-term deals with 2 players. Be around for many years to come. Stolen base for John Jay.
I don't think there's any chance for the jump that he got.
Jay may see that playing time cut because go back to early May, he's hitting around 200.
But this is one way that he can enhance his value, and he has been stealing a little bit more. He has good speed, but still learning the art in that jump. And there he got a good jump off the pitcher and steals it off the pitcher.
This season, a .245 hitter with runners in scoring position. Outfield is deep and straight away. The 3-1 to Holiday, and he walked him.
Sellout tonight for the Cardinals. We've come to expect that, haven't we?
Over 43,000 tonight.
Right.
Yes, we do. We have come to expect it. I thought the most amazing week we've had, I guess more than a week, was triple digits in temperatures, and yet the crowds were huge. 10-game homestand before the All-Star break. Now that is a loyal fan base. They come out, the weather as hot as it was. 1 for 3 for Beltran. He got things going back in the first. Base hit that scored Craig. 2 runners on here. And the 1-0 pitch. Hit down the left field line, slicing foul and out of play. Two strikes on the Cardinal center fielder. What complicates, though, the Jay situation is that ideally Cardinals, to save the wear and tear on Beltran's knees and his body, prefer to have him at a corner spot. Won't be Holidays. It's going to be right field.
Right. And it's hard to take out John Jay and his great defense. See, he's really emerged into one of the better defenders in the National League.
There's a 1-2, and that's outside. And that's the other aspect of this, is that defensively, you know, Beltran is not moving like he once did, and John Jay is shown to be a plus defender in center.
Right. He really would kind of balls in the gaps where fall in, where John Jay can track him down and show off that great speed and defense.
Here's a ground ball, slowly hit to the right side. It's bobbled, and Beltran is out at first.
But Dan, those are nice problems to have. You know, too many quality players for too fewer spots. And it just strengthens your bench for whoever it does not make the starting lineup. This guy you can ill afford to ever take out of the lineup.
Look at the numbers with runners in scoring position and the damage that he's done this year in this type of spot.
And I don't mean to slight Tony Cruz at all, because when Molina was out on bereavement leave right before the All-Star break, Tony Cruz played very well, and it's hard to say if 4 consecutive Gold Gloves and the recipient of the very first Rawlings Platinum Glove, how you could sacrifice anything defensively, but Tony Cruz has the respect of his teammates.
Look at that. Molina, Carpenter, 20 RBIs combined this year against the Cubs. The rest of the team at 24. Big gap in left center. Redbirds up 4-1 with 2 down. Here's the first pitch to Molina, taken high for a ball. Yachty has an RBI single that was back in the first inning. Walked into third and is also grounded out to third. Lefty getting loose in the pen for Chicago. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Good cut. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Scott Main, the lefty, warming up.
And this is popped up. Is it playable? Rizzo coming on and makes the catch. Cardinals strand 2. It's 4-1 as we head to the 8th. He's in center. Beltran moving from center to right. And Loesch has a chance to pick up another win tonight. And if he does, he's in double figures. He would go to 10-2. It's 4-1. Let's check in with a Bommarito Sports Update. Pat, we'll see after the game. Here's Boggs and a Chevy call to the pen.
Mitchell's become very reliable in the 8th inning. He's had 14 straight scoreless appearances. He's 8th among National League relievers with 6 induced double plays. Throws hard and gets a lot of sinking action.
And on the first pitch, it's popped up, shallow center. And Jay is there for the out. Nice way to start.
One pitch, one out. You do that anytime.
So Loesch tonight, 94 pitches, 65 were strikes, 7 innings. Gave up the 1 run. Strikes out 4.
Rizzo is 1 for 3. Our first look at this young man that Cub fans are raving about.
0-1 pitch.
He had some unbelievable numbers at AAA.
Saw Boggs in the game against Cincinnati, gave up the base hit to Scott Rowland that proved to be the game winner on Sunday night. And this is hit out to deep right. Beltran is there, 2 away.
Sapchinski warming up behind Mitchell Boggs. Needed. Scott Main for the Cubs.
Sapchinski getting loose for Lahair. Clevenger both due up after we see Soriano.
I don't think Mitchell. I think Mitchell's going to be a little greedy and say, "I'm not going to let you pitch tonight."
Just missed. That pitch hit 95. Ninth consecutive quality start going back to the Mets series at Citi Field. Soriano lines it into right center field. Jay will track it down, and Soriano will stop at second base.
Maybe Mitchell Boggs is going to be a nice bullpenner and let somebody else get an appearance. Like Zipchinski.
So that'll be it. Here comes Mike Matheny with the lefty due up. Mike will go to the bullpen. Zipchinski coming in. Soriano at second base. The lefty-lefty matchup when we return. Cards and Cubs on this Friday night. Loesch 7 innings, 6 hits, the earned run. Holiday the long home run, longest in the history of the ballpark, to the right of Big Mac Land. Zipchinski getting loose. And let's see if the Cubs will make a move, and they will. It'll be Baker pinch hitting for LaHare, so you'll have a lefty-righty matchup. To look at the numbers for Zipchinski. About this time last year, the Cardinals picked up Mark Zipchinski, Rafael Furcal, Octavio Dotel, and things turned around in a hurry. What will they do at the trade deadline this year?
Here you go. You didn't really matter when you switched over and brought in a right-handed batter, Zipchinski, but this year he's had a few more problems against right-handed batters. And Jeff Baker is 4 for 11 with 2 home runs and 7 RBIs as a pinch hitter.
Why do you think Zipchinski at times has been inconsistent this year?
I think the biggest thing is he's pitching behind in the count. He doesn't have the same consistent release point on his slider. That's his bread and butter pitch. It's been real flat, but it's much better of late.
1-1.
Throws in low 90s with sinking action, but hitters become that much more dangerous when they're facing a pitcher when he's pitching behind. Jason Mott has started to throw.
Fonso Soriano is the runner at second base. 1 ball, 1 strike, 4-1 Cards.
Salas.
Braves trailing in their game, but Chipper Jones with an RBI, and now no third baseman has ever driven in more runs than Chipper Jones.
That's great. A lot of third basemen in the Hall of Fame. One going in Sano, but
he's on his way. Here's a 1-2 pitch by Zepchinski. Ooh, he doesn't get the call. Just missed inside, and it's 2-2.
A little bit of a wide strike zone tonight, which is fine. And it is probably a little too much to call that one a strike.
Loesch, by the way, the 16th Cardinal to have a streak of 9 or more games, going at least 6 innings and walking 2 or less.
Missed with a slider there. Run the count full.
Check swing, and Baker went. Strikeout for Zepchinski. He chased ball 4. 4-1 midway through 8. West. It's brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. And by Taco Bell. Taco Bell, live Mas. Beautiful night here in St. Louis, and the Cardinals have a lead of 4-1. They've out-hit the Cubs 8-7. Scott Maine is into the ball game, a lefty that will face Lance Berkman to lead things off. Berkman with a hit tonight as well as an RBI. Numbers on Maine this year.
His third different stint with the Cubs this season, and in his third season with Chicago after he was acquired from Arizona back in November of 09, along with infielder Ryan White for Aaron Heidelman. Sorry to see Belleville native Randy Wells was sent down. He's pitching at AAA now, and hopefully he'll get back up soon.
Really struggled with his command.
Yeah.
That was his biggest issue. 1-1 the count on Berkman. Mike Matheny saying before the game he does not regret the decision to have Berkman not go on a rehab assignment. Pops it up. Rizzo is over and plenty of room to make the catch.
Didn't show in the standings, but Berkman is such a vital part of the chemistry of this ball club. Anytime you have him back with the team, you just feel good about that. And his hitting will come.
David Freese, the hitter, with one down. Cardinals have left 7 on, so have the Cubs. Al and Rick will come your way tomorrow at 5:30. Game on Fox Sports Midwest. Good matchup with Westbrook and Garza. And Sunday is on Fox Sports Midwest as well. Lynn and Wood.
Touched on it a little bit in Milwaukee, Dan, but David hadn't done a lot against left-handed pitching, and you would think that that would be an area where he'd clean up, pad his numbers.
Goes down to get it for a base hit. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the world champion St. Louis Cardinals. If you're just joining us here late in the broadcast, Rafael Furcal is not your leadoff man in this lineup. Couple of reasons we spoke of earlier. Furcal struggling a bit, and Schumacher very good numbers against their starter Ryan Dempster. So Skip was in that leadoff spot, and that's a strike at the knees. Furcal from this side of the plate is backed off the plate a little bit. Talking about how he's been tied up a little bit from the right side.
He's hit the ball well tonight, and one base hit out of 3 line drives.
0-2. And Furcal hits it out to left. Soriano won't get it. Freese on his way to third. They'll hold him up. For Furcal, it's a double, standing up, his second hit of the night. And here we go again. Runners in scoring position and a chance to maybe put this game out of reach.
Matt Carpenter will pinch hit for Zepchinski. So another line drive off the bat for Furcal. This one does get down for another multi-hit game. David Freese scatters over to third base. Almost becoming accustomed to seeing Matt Carpenter face left-handers all the time now.
Says a lot about him and maybe some others as well. Season overall, he's hitting .290. Cardinals have Green and Cruz from the right side still left on the bench if Mike Matheny wanted to go that direction. First pitch, a strike. Descalso's on the bench. Green is there as well. Redbirds have used John Jay. See what Matt has done against those lefties.
Well, he's 3 for 14 with 6 RBIs as a pinch hitter, and 13 of his 21 RBIs have come at home. Doesn't concede anything to a lefty. Hits with a little open stance. He'll close it up, but he doesn't let that front shoulder fly open. And he can hit to all fields. say he used to weigh?
It's in that 240 to 250 range. Matt Carpenter.
Look at his body now. It's hard to believe that.
Yeah, he keeps himself in great condition. Two and two. We showed you earlier. Carpenter, great numbers against Chicago. Will there be the series at Wrigley? And there's two more to go at Wrigley Field. The opening series here at Busch Stadium of the season.
Be there next weekend. So 6 of the Cubs' next 9 games are against the Cardinals.
Carpenter strikes out.
Happy feet trying to go to the opposite field, shoot that ball to left. Call back Schumacher, and now we will see Tyler Green. Kind of wonder if Carpenter would have gotten a base hit, whether they would have used Tyler Green at all. You knew you were going to use him. You might have given him the shot with only 1 out, with runners at second and third. Tyler does have 4 home runs and 16 RBIs.
Late with that swing, strike one, 93.
Hopefully he'll come through here and make Maine pay, but Cardinals haven't been very good in this game with runners in scoring position. But if you win 4-1, nobody really pays attention.
1 ball, 1 strike.
They were very good in the first inning. 4 hits and three consecutive RBIs.
Ground ball and foul. Fans don't realize it's been called a foul ball.
And Bueno did the right thing. He doesn't have time to find out what Adrian Johnson says about the call, so just go ahead and execute the play. And we have a do-over. That was right over the bag and obviously ended up being foul. We're going to see Mott either way, whether it's a save situation or not.
And we'll see him in about 90 seconds. 4-1 St. Louis.
St. Louis. Coming up after the game on the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live, Pat Paris and Cal Eldred are standing by. 2 streaks come to an end, one for Ryan Dempster, the other for the Cardinal offense. They'll explain. They'll break down Kyle Osha's night and another edition of Mic'd Up. Jason Mott comes on for the Redbirds, and we head back to the booth. And Dan and Al, guys.
10 hits for the Redbirds and 7 for Chicago. It's 4-1, and here's Jason Mott. Al?
Jason Mott really has not been pitching much of late. He has 20 saves before the All-Star break. This is his first save opportunity since then. He went about 8 days without pitching.
First pitch, and Clevenger hits a high fly ball to left. Holiday is back, and there's one away.
Cubs need base runners, but the way they play the game today is, to say you never get a chance. There you see what he's only 1 appearance in the last 16 days. Remember, he went into that game in Milwaukee, pitched the 8th inning, had to get some work, allowed 1 run. It was rusty, but his teammates came back and had that inspirational top of the 9th, and he got the win in that game.
There's 2 pitches. Will it be 2 outs for Kyle? Let's turn now to our player of the game, presented by Budweiser. 94 pitches for Loesch tonight. Tim Garcia handing that line over to us that reads just like that. Budweiser, player of the game.
Loesch was very, very good. The bullpen is starting to really establish themselves. Jason Mott 1 out away from picking up save number 21.
And they take a pitch. What a novel idea.
I think Jack Buck is upstairs there saying, take a pitch.
You better take a pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike on Valbuena, who's made some nice plays down at third. 0 for 3, though, at the plate. Be nice to see Mott have a quick inning, too.
No doubt. Mentioned on Monday when he got the second chance, the team got him the lead. He knew what to do with it. Came out was so much sharper.
Goodbye. Game over. Cardinals take game 1 against Chicago. And Mott made it look easy. 4-1 the final.
But it's supposed to be. Great starting assignment. Good bullpen work. Timely hitting. Cardinals got those 3 runs of the first inning that made them hold up.
You don't want to miss it. Jim Hayes, one-on-one with one of the stars tonight. Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live post-game show next.